Jay-Z and Beyonce are the biggest power couple in the game, but there are some shocking rumors behind all of the success. And today we're breaking down why so many people are terrified of them. In 2024, Diddy was all over the headlines after he got caught up in one of the craziest cases in rap history. And then Jay-Z and Beyonce got dragged into it as well. In December 2024, news broke that Jay-Z was being accused of raping a 13-year-old with Diddy back in 2000. According to the lawsuit, Diddy and Jay-Z raped the girl after the MTV Video Music Awards at a house party. The girl's name hasn't been released, but the victim says she went to the party after the VMAs but didn't have a ticket. She started talking to limo drivers around the spot, and one of them allegedly told her that she fit what Diddy was looking for. The driver left and drove Diddy to the after party, then he came back and picked the girl up. She was allegedly taken to a White House and had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to make sure she didn't talk about what she saw at the party. When she finally got inside, the girl was given a drink that made her feel woozy, so she went to another room to lay down. Then while she was away from the rest of the party, Diddy, Jay, and another female celebrity attacked her. Diddy and Jay allegedly took turns raping her while the female celebrity watched. After that, the girl grabbed her clothes and escaped to a gas station, and that's where she called her dad to come pick her up. Jay-Z and his lawyer denied the story from the jump, and he said that anyone who did something like that should be locked up. There's no evidence that Jay was actually involved with a situation like that, and the girl's story has some holes in it too. The alleged victim claimed that she had talked to artists named Benji and Joel Madden at the party, but their team told NBC that Benji and Joel were touring at the time and couldn't have been at the party. And on top of that, the girl's own dad said that he didn't remember driving 5 hours to pick her up after the alleged attack. She also said that she was dropped off outside the VMAs by a friend, but NBC couldn't verify the story because the friend is supposedly dead. Since she was supposedly only 13 at the time, it sounds pretty unbelievable that she would have a friend that was willing to drive her over 5 hours and leave her in the middle of New York City all by herself. The alleged victim also admitted to having autism in the interview, which is why she wasn't scared to be alone, but her explanation about why doesn't make much sense. The girl is 38 now and has 2 kids, and she's still going with the same story, even though there's some holes in it. According to her, just because she doesn't remember everything perfectly doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Aaron Robinson is the director of media relations for the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and they said that trauma like rape can have both short and long-term effects on the brain that influence decision-making and memory. Jay-Z is the richest rapper in the world, and the news shook up the whole industry when it broke. Jay-Z put out a statement and said that if the allegations were true, then it should be a criminal case and not a civil one. Jay went back on attack mode and said that he was being blackmailed but wasn't going to give up one red penny. Jay attacked the lawyer who filed the suit and said that she doesn't have any honor or dignity. Jay also talks about how much the situation was going to hurt his kids and said that where he comes from, they have very strict codes and honor, and they protect children. Then Jay said that the claims made in the lawsuit were idiotic. A lot of people think the situation is sketchy, but right now there's no proof that Jay actually did anything, and it doesn't look like it's going to hurt his business deals either. Jay's Rock Nation company is working with the NFL and putting together the halftime show for 2025. And after the lawsuit came out, the NFL commissioner Roger Goodell said, "We know the litigation is happening now. From our standpoint, our relationship is not changing with them, including our preparations for the next Super Bowl." Before the lawsuit was filed, the lawyer representing Jay's accuser wanted to meet with Jay to settle out of court. Jay and his legal team claim that the woman is trying to get money out of him, but there might be more to the story. A dude named Tony Buzbee is the one representing the woman who Jay and Diddy allegedly raped, and according to him, the woman was referred to his law firm by another law firm, and they were the ones who made the original statement. After the woman came to Tony Buzbee's law firm, 4 different people at Buzbee's firm interviewed the woman and checked details about her statement. They ran a background check on her too and hired an investigator who was allegedly able to confirm some of the details in the woman's story about being attacked by Diddy and Jay. Tony Buzbee said he sent a letter to Jay's legal team so they could talk about the statement before it came out to the public. But Jay's lawyer, Alex Spiro, turned the meeting down, even though Tony Buzbee and the woman allegedly weren't even trying to get any money out of the situation. When the lawsuit was first filed, it only mentioned that Diddy and 2 unnamed celebrities were involved. Then Buzbee allegedly went to Jay-Z and threatened to reveal that he was one of the unnamed celebrities if Jay-Z didn't pay him off and agreed to settle out of court. When Jay-Z refused to pay, Buzbee went public with the accusations. Jay-Z's lawyers immediately filed a motion to have the case dismissed and cited Buzbee's past history of extorting clients as evidence of why the accusations are fake. They specifically named a previous case where Buzbee was criticized over statements he made about MLB player Scott Erickson. Buzbee was also behind a lawsuit against NFL player Deshaun Watson after he was accused of sexually assaulting a bunch of different women. So Buzbee has a history of going after high-profile celebrities with these kinds of lawsuits. Buzbee recently filed another lawsuit against Jay-Z and Roc Nation, where he accused them of trying to bribe past clients to say bad things about him. Buzbee says that lawyers hired by Jay-Z pretended to be employees of the state of Texas and offered his clients $10,000 cash to sue Buzbee's law firm. He says they tried to bribe at least 24 clients, which resulted in 2 fake lawsuits against his firm. Now Tony Buzbee is being sued for unethical and illegal conduct against one of his former clients, which included giving her an STD. An anonymous woman files a lawsuit against Buzbee for ignoring his legal rights in her divorce settlement to protect himself from being exposed. The woman says she met Buzbee online in 2018 and he convinced her to meet up in person for a date, which turned into an overnight stay at a 5-star hotel where they had sex. After the date, the woman found out that she had been infected with an incurable STD and the doctor confirmed she'd gotten it from Buzbee. When she confronted him about it, Buzbee allegedly wasn't surprised and knew that he was infected, but he told her not to tell anyone what happened and offered her free legal services to keep her quiet. That led to Buzbee representing her when she divorced her husband a few years later, but she claims Buzbee created fake medical records to make it look like she got the STD from her husband, not him. Buzbee then sent a demand letter to the husband, accusing him of infecting his client to pressure him to settle. The plan allegedly backfired because the husband requested more info on Buzbee, which made Buzbee pressure his client to settle because he was afraid he would get exposed for faking documents and giving her an STD, so she was forced to settle at a major financial loss. She also accused Buzbee of assaulting her at a bar in NYC. The victim said she was out drinking with a friend when Buzbee came to meet them. When he saw her talking to someone else, Buzbee started to get jealous and smashed her drink into her face, causing her to chip a tooth. Buzbee claims the accusations against him are completely false and that it's all part of a conspiracy led by Jay-Z to discredit him. He claims that the victim came to him looking for $20 million and threatened to trash his reputation if he didn't pay. At this point, it's hard to know what's true and what's not, but it doesn't look like the beef between Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee is going to end anytime soon. Everything we're talking about is just rumors right now, and there's no concrete evidence that Jay-Z and Beyonce are involved with anything. But we're going to break down the wild stories about them that are flying around right now. According to Jay's lawyer, Alex Spiro, Jay has nothing to do with Diddy's case. Alex Spiro claims that Diddy and Jay have known each other professionally, but they weren't ever close. A lot of people are calling cap on that claim though, because Jay-Z and Diddy both came up in the New York rap scene at the same time and were rocking with a lot of the same people. And before all the legal drama started going down, Diddy said the only people in the world who were allowed to call him by his real name were his mom and Jay-Z.
There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
That should be outside of my mother.
Okay,
That should be calling me. Yeah, they should be calling me Sean.
Jay was cool with Biggie back in the day too. Biggie was Diddy's star on Bad Boy Records, and in '96, Jay and Biggie linked up for the track Brooklyn's Finest. Rumors said that Diddy and Jay actually had some beef over the situation though. A lot of people claim that Biggie was trying to leave Bad Boy Records, and some sources say that he wanted to sign to Jay-Z's Rockefeller record label. But before that could happen, Biggie was tragically shot and killed in '97. In that same year, Diddy featured Jay-Z on his track Young G's. Then Diddy and Jay worked on the track I Know What Girls Like a few months later. There might have been some issues going on behind the scenes, but Jay and Diddy were still rocking with each other publicly. And in 2007, they performed together at Screamfest, and Diddy slapped Jay-Z's ass when they were on stage. And in 2009, Diddy said that Jay-Z flew out of his way to come to Diddy's birthday party. Jay was on tour at the time, but he took a private jet after one of his shows just to come to Diddy's party, and Diddy said, "I was just telling him how much I appreciated it and how much I value our friendship." Then in 2016, Jay was on stage with Diddy at the Family Bad Boy reunion tour, and Diddy said that Jay is the one he calls whenever he gets in trouble.
Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother.
We'll get into how Diddy is connected to the death of Jay-Z's mistress in a second, but people were already saying it was weird how quiet Jay has been about the Diddy situation. After Diddy started getting sued for abuse, Jay-Z disappeared and didn't say anything about it, and 50 Cent even clowned Jay for staying so quiet about everything. And according to a singer named Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z is even worse than Diddy. Jaguar Wright worked with Jay before, but she said that Beyonce and him are a nasty little couple.
They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
She did an interview with Piers Morgan and said that she has 3 victims that are ready to testify against Jay-Z and Beyonce too.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well.
Piers Morgan has a huge platform, and nobody knew Jaguar Wright was gonna come on the show and drop bombs like that. Jaguar didn't give any evidence to prove what she was saying, so Piers Morgan ended up having to delete the interview from his show and send an apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Well, last week I interviewed Jaguar Wright, a singer-songwriter who's made claims about Diddy for years. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Jaguar Wright also made a crazy claim that Jay-Z and Beyonce were involved with the death of Aaliyah.
People on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about.
But before we get into her suspicious death, you gotta know the weird history between Jay-Z and Aaliyah. Aaliyah was a singer who started in the music industry as a kid and signed her first label deal when she was only 12 years old. Scoring a record deal at 12 is a big success, but it also led to Aaliyah being abused by Jay-Z's homie, R. Kelly. R. Kelly met Aaliyah when she was 12 and he was 24. R. Kelly became her mentor and wrote her first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, but he was raping her almost the entire time. And in '94, R. Kelly married her illegally when Aaliyah was 15 and he was 27. R. Kelly's tour manager testified that he bribed a government worker $500 to get Aaliyah a fake ID so R. Kelly could marry her, and prosecutors said R. Kelly wanted to marry her so he wouldn't get booked for having sex with a minor. Everyone found out about the illegal marriage later on, and Aaliyah completely cut R. Kelly out of her life after the marriage was reversed. People knew that R. Kelly was creeping on minors, but Jay-Z stayed cool with him and they released 2 albums together. After Aaliyah and R. Kelly weren't together anymore, Jay allegedly tried to hook up with her too, but Aaliyah started dating Jay's homie, Dame Dash, instead. Dame and Jay came up in the rap game together and started Rockefeller Records with their homie Biggs. Jay and Dame were like brothers back in the day, and Dame was also Jay's manager. They scored a huge win after they dropped Jay's first album. Then they started signing more artists to Rockefeller and took everything to the next level. While Jay was focused on the music, Dame handled all of the business. And in '99, Dame put together the Hard Knock Life Tour with Jay, DMX, Method Man, Redman, and DJ Clue. It's one of the most legendary rap tours in history, and it made Rockefeller over $18 million in ticket sales. Dame and Jay were taking over the rap game, but it wasn't long before the situation fell apart. Jay was allegedly mad about how Dame was going to give Cameron and Beanie Siegel vice president jobs at the label. A bunch of deals started falling apart too, like an amusement park they wanted to open called Rockefeller Great Adventure, and a movie based on Rockefeller's early days. Dame was also pretty aggressive when it came to business, and he was known for being loud and yelling at people in meetings, so a lot of people in the industry didn't like him. Jay-Z is pretty careful with his image. At a certain point, Jay realized that if he wanted to make it to the top, he had to cut Dame loose, even though Dame was the one who helped him become one of the biggest rappers in the world. Then in 2004, Jay got the job as president and CEO of Def Jam Records. But instead of using the job to help his homie out, Jay snaked Dame and sold 50% of Rockefeller to Def Jam. Most of Rockefeller's biggest artists signed with Jay instead of staying with Dame. The other execs at Rockefeller were allegedly having meetings with artists without Dame knowing about it. So he went to the office and aired everyone out like crazy. For a long time, it looked like Jay-Z and Dame Dash fell out over the business, but rumors say that there's a way darker side of the story. After R. Kelly and Aaliyah broke up, Jay and Aaliyah started seeing each other. Sources claim that Aaliyah and Jay weren't serious about each other, but then Dame Dash got involved too. Dame allegedly started hollering at Aaliyah while she was seeing Jay, and eventually Aaliyah and Dame were actually in a relationship. They kept it low-key, but Dame claims that they were already thinking about getting married. But then in 2001, Aaliyah was tragically killed in a suspicious plane crash. Aaliyah was in the Bahamas shooting a music video and was supposed to fly back to Florida. According to rumors, Aaliyah was terrified about getting on the plane though, and somebody in her crew gave her drugs and carried her onto the plane. The plane took off, but as soon as it got in the air, the plane nosedived to the ground and killed everyone. It turns out the plane had way too much weight on it to fly, and the pilot had cocaine and alcohol in his blood when he crashed. Aaliyah's death shocked the whole music game. She was one of the hottest artists in the world and was getting into movies too. She had started Romeo Must Die and Queen of the Damned back to back, and Aaliyah was making music for the soundtracks too. Aaliyah dying like that was wild, but it also opened the door for another star to step in and take her place, Beyonce. Beyonce had been in the industry for a few years already when Aaliyah died. She was in the crew Destiny's Child and had some big hits, but Destiny's Child broke up around the same time that Aaliyah died, and Beyonce became one of the biggest names in the industry right after. For a long time, Beyonce claimed that she met Jay-Z when she was 18 and they started dating when she was 19. Everyone thought the 12-year age gap was kind of weird, but it turns out that Beyonce was lying about when they met. After Jay-Z got sued for raping a 13-year-old with Diddy, photos came out that allegedly proved he was hanging around Beyonce when she was 16. Nobody knows what was really happening with them back then, but there are crazy theories going around that Jay had something to do with Aaliyah's plane crash because she picked Dame over him and he wanted Beyonce to become the biggest star in the game. There's nothing to back the rumors up, but the new photos that came out definitely make Jay's relationship with Beyonce look sketchy. And another thing that makes Jay look even weirder is his alleged relationship with Foxy Brown. Jay apparently met Foxy Brown when she was around 14 and they started working together. Jay and Foxy had a track called Ain't No Nigga that dropped in '96, but sources claim that the track was recorded in '94 when Foxy was 14. Back in the '90s and early 2000s, there were a lot of rumors about Jay hooking up with Foxy Brown when she was still a minor, and Nas even dissed him about it on the track Ether when he rapped, "Foxy got you hot cause you kept your face in her puss. What you think? You getting girls now cause of your looks?" After Jay got sued for allegedly raping a 13-year-old, people started talking about Foxy Brown to him again. But Foxy hopped on social media and said she wasn't gonna help anyone take Jay-Z down. There's no evidence that Jay was actually involved with Foxy Brown when she was a minor, but some people think him hanging out with young girls and dudes like R. Kelly and Diddy is a bad look for Jay. After the documentary about R. Kelly's abuse came out, Dame Dash did an interview and talked about Jay working with R. Kelly. Jay and R. Kelly had 2 albums together, and Dame said he didn't have anything to do with it. Dame said he didn't want anything to do with R. Kelly, and he pressed Jay about it.
So to be honest, like, if you remember The Best of Both Worlds, you don't see my name on that. You know what I mean? And
your name is not on either album.
Hell no, I never wanted no parts of that. So when Holmes was doing that shit, I was like, bro, you know our homie violated, and he violated my girl.
But Jay decided to keep rocking with R. Kelly. Some people claim that Jay didn't know about R. Kelly raping Aaliyah and other girls, but Nas said there's no way Jay didn't know what was going on. And when Dame Dash talks about the situation, it sounds like everyone in the industry knew about it too. When the lawsuit came out against Jay, Dame Dash said he doesn't care about Jay anymore.
I don't care about Jay-Z.
Okay.
I sold Reasonable Doubt, so I get no fucks given. That's just, that man, whatever's going on with him is on him.
According to Dame, Jay doesn't have the same level of morals.
On a human level, if the shit is true, you know, I'm curious to know how true it is. But, you know, based on my experiences and the fact that I wanted to get away, I personally made the decision to get away from that camp.
Dame did add that he didn't know if the allegations were true though, and if he had any proof that Jay was raping kids, he probably would have already aired it out. And Dame finished it by saying that Jay working with R. Kelly is the real reason that they fell out.
Yeah, when Jay did a project with R. Kelly, knowing that he had raped Aaliyah.
Jay and R. Kelly ended up having a crazy fallout too. After they released a couple of albums together, Jay and R. Kelly went on tour together. They were 2 of the biggest stars in the world at the time, and fans were going crazy for the tour, but it all fell apart at Madison Square Garden. During the show, R. Kelly said that 2 dudes were showing guns to him. Security checked everything out and didn't find anything. Then when R. Kelly was walking back, Jay's homie Ty pepper sprayed R. Kelly and his bodyguards. Nobody knows what really went down or why Ty sprayed him, but that was basically the end of Jay-Z and R. Kelly working with each other. R. Kelly ended up going down for 30 years in prison, and one of his ex-cellmates claims that R. Kelly thought Jay wanted to kill him. R. Kelly and Jay were allegedly having way more serious issues behind the scenes when they were working together, and R. Kelly allegedly thought Jay had put a bag on his head. A lot of people already knew about Jay's weird relationship with R. Kelly and how he was always dating women younger than him, but a lot of rap fans don't know anything about the suspicious death of a woman Jay was allegedly dating. Kathy White was a woman who worked in the PR business and moved to LA to get a career started. Kathy wanted to be a singer too, and reports say she was always hanging out around artists. While Kathy was living in LA, she got close with a woman named Claudia, and the 2 of them would take trips to Las Vegas together with other friends. Claudia also had ties to the entertainment industry through people like Marlon Wayans, and around 2009, she tweeted about going to a Jay-Z concert in Vegas with her friends. Then in May 2009, Kathy and Claudia both went to a party at a nightclub in Vegas, and that's when they allegedly met Diddy and Jay-Z. Nobody knows what really happened that night, but a few months later, Kathy's life completely changed because of it. Kathy was just chilling in LA and working on her career, and in 2010, she was planning on moving to New York after she signed some kind of big deal. Kathy didn't have long to celebrate the news though, because a gossip website called Diary of Hollywood Street King put out a story about Kathy having an affair with Jay-Z. Diary of a Hollywood Street King had already written about Kathy's friend Claudia and called her a homewrecker. After the first story about Kathy and Jay-Z allegedly having an affair came out, other sites started reporting on it too, and Kathy was getting harassed by everybody. The situation got so bad that she ended up deleting her social media for a while. Eventually the story died down, but then Diary of a Hollywood Street King wrote a new story about Kathy and Jay-Z and said Kathy's only skill was shaking her cute little ass. The dude who wrote the story claimed that Kathy had to leave LA and move to New York because she got exposed for having an affair with Jay-Z. At least that part of the story was capped though, because Kathy had already planned on going to New York before the rumors broke about her and Jay-Z. Then just around a month after the new article about Kathy White came out, she ended up mysteriously dying out of nowhere. In August 2011, Jay-Z and Beyonce broke the news that they were going to have their first baby together. It was a massive moment that actually broke a record on Twitter for getting the most likes per second. Then just a few days later, Kathy White's friends started tweeting at each other about something serious. And after that, gossip sites confirmed that Kathy had tragically died from a brain aneurysm at just 28 years old. When people found out that Jay's alleged mistress died at the same time as the pregnancy announcement, rumors started flying that he was involved with the situation. There's no concrete proof that Jay had something to do with it, but people pointed out how similar it was to Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, dying. Diddy and Kim Porter started dating way back before Diddy took over the game with Bad Boy Records. They had kids together and were always on and off again. Then in 2018, she suspiciously died out of nowhere. According to reports, Kim got sick with the flu and it turned to pneumonia. Then Diddy allegedly hired a private nurse to take care of Kim, and rumors say that the nurse didn't give Kim the medicine that she needed to get better. Kim tragically died right after she got sick, and rumors have been flying for years that Diddy has something to do with it. Kim's ex, Albie Shore, claims there's more to the story, and Donald Trump Jr. told DJ Academics,
my ex-wife actually she was a model in New York, and like she was really good friends with Kim Porter, who was Diddy's wife, the one who died at 47 from pneumonia. And it was like,
that's what they
when
said.
that happened, she called me, and this was a couple years ago now, maybe not even, a couple years ago, and she called me like, something's up with that. I go, what do you mean? She's like, oh dude, Kim used to tell me like it was a bad, like there's a lot of weird shit that I didn't even know that, like, but they were like, you know, they'd do photo shoots together or whatever. They were sort of friendly. Like they'd hang out. Like we'd see them out downtown, and like I'd hang out with her. Not so much with Diddy. I think it was already sort of over there, but like she was really afraid of him.
The whole situation was really sketchy, and some people think that Jay and Diddy were both involved with getting people killed, even though there's no concrete evidence that ties them to anything. But it's not just random people who think Jay has killers on the payroll. Back in 2016, Kanye West was on tour, and he asked Jay-Z to call him instead of killing him.
Jay-Z called me. Hey, bro, Jay-Z, I know you got killers. Please don't send them at my head. Just call me.
Ye was kind of going off the deep end and was put into a psychiatric hold around the same time. A woman named Liz Crokin also thinks that Kanye was actually afraid of Jay-Z though. She said that when Kanye was talking about Jay-Z having killers, he was talking about the people who killed Kathy White. There's no evidence that Kathy was actually murdered, but Jaguar Wright claims that Kathy was murdered by a woman and that Diddy has a video of it.
Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled. And it's not a man. Show him the tape, Diddy, you got it.
Liz Crokin wrote a whole article about Kathy's death, and she claims that Beyonce and Jay-Z had her killed because she was about to go public with her story about the affair. Liz Crokin and Jaguar Wright definitely aren't the most reliable sources, but there's a lot of weird things about the Kathy White situation. And now, people are connecting Beyonce's lyrics to the situation too, like on her track Daughter, where she said, your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures, bathroom attendant let me right in. She was a big fan. I really try to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do. There have also been rumors about Jay-Z and Beyonce being part of the Illuminati for years. A lot of it started because of Jay always throwing up a diamond hand sign. The sign is supposed to represent Rockefeller, but some people think it's actually an Illuminati triangle. And according to Kanye, Jay is being controlled by the elites.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I know you, man.
But they can't control me.
The rumors were so popular that Jay-Z and Beyonce both talked about it in music. Like on the track Freemason, when Jay raps, niggas couldn't do nothing with me. They put the devil on me. I'd have preferred niggas to squeeze the metal on me. Rumors of Lucifer, I don't know who to trust. Whole world want my demise. Turn the music up. And on the track Formation, Beyonce said, y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess. And in 2018, Beyonce's ex-drummer Kimberly Thompson filed a restraining order against Beyonce because Beyonce was doing magic spells of sexual molestation. According to the paperwork, Beyonce was doing extreme witchcraft and murdered her pet kitten. There's also a weird trend where other artists thank Beyonce whenever they win awards.
My artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyonce, it was so monumental.
They could just be giving Beyonce her flowers because she's had so much success in the industry. But some people think there's a darker side to the situation. Some people think Beyonce is actually Jay's victim though, and a former bodyguard said that Jay was keeping Beyonce on drugs so he can control her.
Hardly nobody knows, but I'll say it, man. Yeah, Beyonce's on drugs. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way.
Jaguar Wright claims that Jay is even worse than Diddy, but she hasn't made any claims about Beyonce and said that Beyonce needs to be free.
Y'all need to be doing a campaign that say free Beyonce.
Beyonce is
she is a prisoner in a gilded cage.
Most of the accusations against Jay-Z and Beyonce are just rumors right now without any evidence. But Jay has been involved with some wild cases that are definitely real. Jay came up in the Marcy houses in Brooklyn and got active in the streets when he was a kid. When Jay was 10, his Uncle Ray was stabbed to death, and that's when Jay's dad started using heroin and drinking all the time. Jay's dad left the family, and on the track Moment of Clarity, Jay-Z rapped, "So Pop, I forgive you for all the shit that I lived through. It wasn't your fault, homie. You got caught into the same game I fought that Uncle Ray lost. My big brothers and so many others I saw." Then Jay-Z's older brother got addicted to crack, and Jay ended up shooting him. Jay's homie Jaz-O gave him a strap when Jay was 12 years old, and Jay shot his older brother because he allegedly stole some jewelry from him. Luckily, his brother survived, and on the track You Must Love Me, Jay rapped, "As we grew, fussing and fighting continued. As I plundered through your stuff and snuck it clothes to school. Got intense, real intense as we got older. Never believed it would lead to me popping one on your shoulder." Then in 1999, Jay-Z allegedly stabbed the dude for leaking his music. Jay was about to drop an album, but a month before it came out, someone leaked the whole project. Jay heard that a dude named Lance Rivera was the one who leaked the album, and the situation popped off when they ran into each other at another release party. Jay and Un knew each other from the streets before Jay was even making music, but they got into an argument when Jay pressed him about leaking the album. Jay wrote about it in his book and said that he walked away after the argument, but then he turned back around and stabbed Un. Jay turned himself in and pleaded guilty, and on the track Did It My Way, he rapped, "When I seen how big they made my fight scene at the club, let me explain exactly how this shit was. This nigga Un, yo, I scratched him. He went home without an aspirin, but it's cool cause we back friends. It's happened and it's over." But according to Nas and Un, Jay wasn't the one who stabbed Un that night. On the track Ether, Nas claimed that Jay took the fall for someone else and rapped, "And your man stabbed Un and made you take the blame." And in 2023, Un told DJ Vlad that Jay-Z isn't the one who stabs him at the party.
Jay-Z was not the guy who actually stabbed me that night.
Un isn't the only dude that Jay allegedly stabbed though. Back in the day, Jay was really tight with a dude named Calvin Klein Bacote. And in '89, Klein and Jay allegedly got into a fight at a party and ended up getting hit with attempted murder charges. Klein allegedly paid the dude who was pressing charges $50K to drop the case against Jay, but Klein still ended up getting 4 years in prison. At the end of the day, most of the theories about Jay-Z and Beyonce don't have any evidence, but there are definitely some sketchy things about their relationship and a lot of the people around them. But if Jay is actually involved with the Diddy situation, we'll have real proof about it when the case goes to trial.